Hey, how's it going? Summer's over. Time for Plan C. C4, that is. Okay, so I know I should be working on the eBay heads to finish up the 77 and get that running, but it's fall. And to be honest, I just want to go fast. So I'm going to get the C4 out. I wasn't planning on it until after I had the C3 going because I really don't like to get one car out and work on another because I always want to work on the car I'm driving. But this time I'm not going to do that. I'm not. I'm going to stick to the plan, get the C4 out, do some basic prep. I got to do normal junk like change the oil, check the plugs and tires, and boring stuff. I also need to put a tach in it because I need to know the RPMs so I don't mess stuff up. But before I can do that, I need to clear up all this clutter. Make room for the C4. Well, not that. That stays. So, let me get to it. Next shot, C4 should be here. And we're back. Plan C is now in effect. I got the C4 up here. I've already started pulling the spark plugs. And I'll show you what I found. Oh, and by the way, quick tip. I like to use a Sharpie to mark the spark plugs by cylinder number as I pull them out. That way I keep track of it and put them back in. Now, the plugs are looking pretty good except for number 2. Number 2 looks like it's a bit fouling or misfiring. Could be a bad plug. Could be a bad plug wire. Maybe a little bit of oil seepage. I don't know. While I'm out, I'll grab another plug to throw in there. But so far, the other plugs look great. I still gotta change the oil, and I want to wipe down the interior because there's a little bit of mildew in there. I got this detailer I'm going to try. I've never used it before. I just grabbed whatever was available at the store. I'm not going to have time to put the tach in right now, so I'll do that tomorrow night because I'm actually prepping to go out to a local meet. There's a local Wednesday night meet at the Sonic, so I'd like to go out and say hi to a few people, check out some cars, and see if I can have some fun. Anyways, I better get back to messing with the sucker, get those plugs back in. C4, C3. Things are looking good. Well, I made it. And remember my 10 mil in case my battery comes loose. But tonight's pretty much a bust. Just met a couple cool kids, but you can see for yourself. There's a whole lot of nothing. It's a shame because it's a nice night. But oh well. Tomorrow is another meet, so we'll see. We'll have better luck. Okay, it's getting late. I'm back. Just made a quick sandwich. I'm going to try and get a little more done before I call it a night. I did manage to get a new spark plug. I just pulled up as the guy was locking up, and he took mercy on me and let me buy what I need real quick. So, thanks, Jacob. O'Reilly's, you're the man. Well, if you ever see this. Anyways, what I'm going to try and do is see if I can get started on this tach. Like to get it installed, but I still haven't even cleaned the mess from earlier. I got to deal with that oil before I spill it. So, I got my wiring junk out. Keep it in this cheap toolbox that I got off Summit a million years ago when they clearanced them. And it's got a little bit of everything. Connectors, tools, and whatnot. Wiring junk galore. So, show you what I got over here. I got this cheap gauge. That's just, I don't know, what brand is it? Dragon gauge? I don't know. It's an eBay gauge. Typical eBay, Amazon gauge. Cheap. It's just a digital tach. It's small, what I needed. I just want to replace the tach. I don't really need it because it's automatic transmission and I don't have a good shifter, so I can't really shift it myself. So I just let it set up, and I'm going to go into more detail on that in another video here soon. But this looks just basically simple, you know, instructions, an O-ring, and junk. And I got this pot on me, which is Tachometer. Yeah, tastes good. Let's see here. Basically, what I want to do, set that down, don't need that anymore, is, oh, it's dark in here too, mount it right here on the column so it's not blocking my other gauges. Let me get my keys out and we'll see if I can give a better demonstration here real quick. Get in there. Oh, come on. That's the door key. It doesn't work. I'm going to use a small gauge so I don't block my sensor gauges on either side. I mean, it'll probably, you know, I'll play with it and get it right later. But basically, I had already had a large Tachometer style gauge in there, like, you know, not like a 5-inch, but more like a, I want to say like a 3.5. And it still was kind of big. I mean, I don't want to mount it on the dash. I don't really want to do that with this car. I want to be a little more subtle. So I think I'm just gonna, I'll try this out, and you know, I know what the shift points are, so I don't know if it's accurate or if it's junk. We'll see. Well, let me see what I can get done before I call it a night. So here's the deal. I have good news and I have bad news. I'll start with the bad news. That meet I was supposed to be going to tonight, well, it turns out last week was the season ender for it. So, oops, I missed it. I'll have to check it out next year. No big deal. There'll still be other meets. Still have plenty of time left to cruise my car before it gets too cold. Now, for the good news, I'm just heading back from picking up a part for the C3. Just met a cool dude named Gary. By the way, thanks Gary for the good deal. And I think this thing's going to be cool. I mean, I'll show you when I get back. I don't want to give away too much. But it's kind of a side project. Something interesting. We'll see. I still need to finish up that Tach too. I kind of got a little discouraged and, you know, dragged my feet a little because I found out the meet was, you know, no longer going to happen. So I was like, I don't really need to do it right now. I'll do it later. So we'll get that done too. Made it back. Just want to get a shot of this real quick before it gets too dark. I bought a hood. Nothing fancy, just a stock hood. And I'll show you why here in a second. I'll head over here to the garage. And basically what I plan to do is cut up that stock hood. Because I don't want to cut my dad's car's hood. And I can afford a nice cowl right now. Here, let me turn this light on. There we go. And the problem is, there's not much carburetor clearance in these stock hoods. And they're just notorious for, you know, no intakes really fit. A lot of them say, you know, does not fit on C3 Corvettes. And the Vortec intake really isn't you know, that much shorter than an air gap. I mean, it's like I think it's like a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch. It's not much. So I'm like, screw it. I might as well just cut up a hood. I don't want to cut my hood, but it's way cheaper to buy a used stock hood because right now they're dirt. I see them all the time, and like I said, I got a good deal. I don't want to say how much, but thanks again, Gary. And tune in. That'll be a future episode of me cutting up that hood. And I got a friend of mine who has a body shop. I'm gonna see if I can get him to help. We'll see. I think it'll be pretty interesting. I got an idea that I think will make it extra cool. So stay tuned. Meanwhile, I better go get changed so I can finish up this tack install. I already started on messing with junk last night, but I'm still a little bit off from being done. Well, after I make myself a sandwich real quick. Get some root beer. Alright, back in a few. The tack install is done, which would be great if it worked. Well, it kind of worked a little at first. It blinked some and now it does nothing. So, I mean, I don't know what I expected. It was a cheap tack. I mean, oh well, I'll order a better tack and, you know, move on. Nothing I can do. I learned my lesson. Maybe. Probably not. I'm probably going to still order cheap junk off eBay and Amazon. You know, not all of it's bad. Just a lot of what I get. Anyways, I can at least show you the install. Well, before I get to that, let me explain why my interior is all tore apart. Grab my light. Before I parked it, I did a MSD box install. And that didn't work out good either. It didn't want to run well. So, I mean, if you want to see the install, I'll include the picture here. And then I did buy a digital newer box and try to install that. I just quickly wired it up and zip tied it to the plenum, and that's another picture I'll include here. But it didn't. That new box didn't run right either. And I know people have installed boxes with the stock distributor on these cars, so I have a couple ideas of the problem, the cause of the problem. But like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to get into that. I need to work on that car, not this car. So I mean, other than installing this tack so I can, you know, do burnouts and drive spiritually, I don't want to mess with that right now. Because I also would like to install a nice aftermarket shifter. But once again, I need to get that thing done. And then I'll worry about this junk. Well, actually, I need to get back to the Trans Am and the crate engine. So, plenty to do. Oh, and by the way, the interior is back here. I need to slap that all back together before I attend a meet. At least it looks better than this. I started this. There's this big old like pillow thing called a bread box over here, and I started a bread box delete, and I got to finish that. So I won't be videoing that. I just, you know, you'll see it if I feature it in another video. I almost ended the video without showing you the actual tack install. So, oops. I'm just going to splice in right here. Here it is. I just used a large hose clamp with a bit of electrical tape wrapped around it. And I cut off a piece of this mouse pad to use as a cushion for the tack bracket so it doesn't scuff the column, and, you know, mark it up so in case I want to remove this later and go something different. And let me show you the position right here real quick. Oh, before I forget, you could hide this by putting it down below, but then you're gonna maybe catch it on your knee. Trust me, I tried that in my other car. It does not feel good. So I might Sharpie it to try and, you know, hide it a little, or put some, yeah, I'm not gonna put a tape over it. That just looked cheesy. Anyways, the position I think works out. You know, I can see my regular gauges, you know, speedometer and all that junk, and it just kind of blocks the factory broken tack. I mean, it worked a little, but there's a common problem with these old digital dashes is the numbers start not filling in. And you can get them restored or try and clean the contacts or whatever, but that's not something I'm going to worry about. I don't really like the 2-digit, you know, tack or the bar sweep. I prefer, you know, a full sweep tack or 4 digits so I can, you know, closely monitor the progression of the tack a little better. So I think this position is going to work out good. I like it. You know, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I had a larger tack installed at once, but I just kind of had it floating around over here and stuff. You know, I kind of set it in this cavity I have a cover for this. It's not on. There was some switches for the MSD, but when I was troubleshooting and everything, it's like the MSD switches in here, and well, it's in there somewhere. I don't care. We're getting sidetracked too far. Back to the Tach. Mounting a large Tach here would be too much of an obstruction of the ignition, and just this fits nice. So I like that. Hopefully I can get a functional Tach in here, and then I'll see if I really like it. Of course, I plan on ending the video a different way, but without a functional Tach, I can't do that. So I'm just going to wrap it up and move on to my next video. That one's going to be about how to change the shift points at wide open throttle in an automatic transmission. Well, I think GM only. I don't remember the kits for other models, but I know it's for multiple model GM transmissions, older ones before they were programmable. And if you want to know more about that, you can check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Keep it real.